Today I thought I'm going to do a video. Well, it's actually a live, not a video, and I'm going to teach all of you how I actually make my cloud bath bombs, and I've already bloomed everything and so on. So I thought, look, I'm just going to do this live. If anyone watches it, that's great, but later on I will save it so that you'll all be able to go on and watch it, because this is actually for a wholesale order. So I've got everything in front of me as well. Everything's organized. If you haven't joined my Patreon, make sure you go over there. All the links are in here as well, and the full recipe will be in Patreon. But I'm going to show you the whole process, how I do it, and everything else on here, because it is one of those things a lot of people struggle with and find really, really hard. So anyway, hopefully, like I said, we're going to get going now and we will start to do the bath bomb. So I'm going to put the camera down a little bit so that you don't have to look at me and you can actually look at what I'm doing. So this is going to be a bit of a workshop. So let me grab stuff first. So we'll just pop this down. So now in here, I do have my bicarbonate soda. So you can see it's purple. I have already bloomed it. If you don't know what blooming is, go back and have a look at a couple of my videos, but I will tell you what it is. Blooming, basically all that means is you're just going to have your water soluble dyes with some water, you mix them together, you pop them into your bicarbonate soda, which I've already done in here, and then with the oh, hi Deb, how are you, darling? Welcome. I know it's a bit of a sneaky video, I didn't tell anybody, but we're here. So I thought I have to make this for work, so let me just show you all what I'm doing. Of course, put some gloves on. I do this, I bloom this a day or two in advance. So if you want to do lots of colors, you can bloom them. Just keep them in a dark area so no sunlight gets to them. So you can see here, it's very powdery because it's been mixed for about 20 minutes. Like I said, and you know, nothing will come off in your hand or anything because I also put different products with it. So in here, like I said, we do have this totally ready. So we've got our bicarbonate soda, which is bloomed. And now what we're going to be doing is popping in this. So inside here, I have some kaolin clay in here, or you can use pink clay, or you can use French clay, whatever you like, because that gives a bit of hardness as well. Oh, you love how I just show up, Deb. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just think, look, I'll just show you guys what I'm doing. So in this one, though, I'm going to put some pink clay, not kaolin. So in this particular one, because that's what this order is. So we've got your kaolin clay. We've got some cream of tartar. And I also do have some SLSA in here. And I have already pre-done this. So I just literally just pour it all in here. But, you know, you don't have to pre-do this. This is just for today. I thought, look, I'll just pop them in the container. And it's just going to sit in here. We will put this back on the mixer in a minute. But before we've done that, so this is the main thing. Remember, there is no citric acid. Don't pop that in until the last minute. So I'm going to put this on the mixer. We're not going to stir this yet because the next thing we need to do, which will bring back this bowl, is we need to organize all of the liquids that are going to go in there. So, of course, we do need some witch hazel, which I pop in here, but we won't be doing that until later. In here, this is some polysorbate 80. This will stop the ring of oil on the bath, and it will also stop colours sticking to the enamel of the bath. So it's really important. I tell everybody, please make sure you do this as well. And this is a really big mix as well. So we're going to be popping everything that we need in here. And remember that my full recipe I will pop over on Patreon. So if you're not on Patreon, you really need to go on there because it's super duper important. And don't just think that I just pop in these oils. I know the exact oils I use because I make thousands and thousands of bath bombs. Now, if you're using a Cada mould, which we're going to be using, so this is the Cada mould here. It's a cloud and it's actually got 3 pieces to this mould. Cada mould, you actually need to put more oils in. It's really important. If you don't add more oil into the Cada moulds, they're too hard to get out. They'll crumble and they'll crack. So the recipe, you need to change it depending on the moulds you're using as well. So, and in here, I'm also going to be adding in some sweet almond oil, but you don't need to add sweet almond oil. You can add apricot kernel oil if you like as well. I don't really advise hemp oil. I just don't advise that. It just doesn't seem to work as well, but maybe you're lucky and it will work where you are. I'm going to be popping in some lavender ylang because that's what this customer has asked for. Do check all of your measurements as well when you're doing bath bombs. And I thought I'll just show you this as well. This is the cocoa betaine. Oh, you found that the hard way, Deb. Yeah, they're all different. All molds, all bath bombs are different, so they're not the same. So in here, this cocoa betaine, if you want to have a bubbling bath bomb, just add a spoon of this in. But I'm not going to add that. I just thought I would show you. And I've got mine from Sudoff in Australia. But if you're in the UK, Fizz Fairy probably have this as well. And of course, you know, if you're in the US, you've got Brambleberry and so many others in the US. So as you can see here, there is lots and lots of oil in here. I only do an oil based. I use no alcohol because a lot of people that I deal with, they do not want alcohol, which I totally understand that. And then this is the citric acid, but that goes in last. So we're definitely not going to be doing that. So I'm just going to move these things aside and we're going to get back into the mixer bit now. So let me get this organized. So I'm going to just move the camera so you guys can see what I'm actually doing. So inside here, as you can see, we do have the Cada clay, all the dry ingredients. So we're going to basically just literally pour the oil straight into this. So, and do remember all of the products we need are inside here. So literally this is all you're going to do is pour everything in. Make sure you get everything out of the container. I'm sorry if you can hear the clanging of this, but when I actually film, it makes it much, much louder. So it's usually not that loud. So anyway, I'm sorry that you are going to hear this, but I'm sure you want to watch what I'm doing. So let me just pop this on for a minute. Just put it on low as well because we want this to combine everything. And, you know, honestly, this process takes quite a while. Don't think this is going to happen in 10 seconds. It is 100% not going to. So I'm going to let that go for a minute. I'm just going to grab a spatula. And in between doing this, and look how gorgeous that colour is. The oil will bring out the colours. We're literally going to turn it over because we want the bit from the bottom. Now, don't worry if you feel like this is really wet. Because remember the citric acid is not in here yet. We're going to add that in. So don't go adding too much. Don't spray it too much. A lot of people, what they do is they think this isn't wet enough. So then they go back and then they'll spray more and more witch hazel. And before they know it, it's an absolute disaster. So definitely don't do that. So we'll keep mixing this. And hopefully you can still hear me loud and clear over that. But I thought while this is doing this and we're mixing this, we'll make sure that we have a little talk about this. So Cada mould, so let me move this to this way. So like I said, we've got your Cada mould and you've got this. Now, the bit that is fat like this is the bit that you put on top. So when you're going to do the mould, you're going to have the slim part on the bottom. And then we are going to make sure this is the right way because then this sits like that and we're going to pour all of the mixture in. You can put coloured in beds or anything, but we won't be doing that today. And then literally we're going to just put that on top, press it nice and hard, and you don't need a press. You can do this by hand, but we will do that. So remember they do come in 3-piece moulds and Cada moulds need a more wetter mixture. If you use a dry one, they'll crumble and they will not work. And they're a little bit more tricky to get out. But the one thing about Cada that I love is they do have many, many gorgeous colours. Sorry, not colours, many gorgeous shapes. So that's one thing I really love. Now, if you can see how bright this has got now with the oil brings that out. So we've got our witch hazel. I've got to make it come 2, 3, 4. So now it actually has 4 sprays because the first few didn't come out. And we will mix this again and then we're going to turn it into a container in a minute. So we'll give it a medium speed, just speed it up a bit to shake it all around. All right, so that's about it. So now we're going to just tap it to make sure we get all it out. And make sure you're using this paddle as well, not a whip, but you need a paddle because the paddle creates the air through the bath bomb. And with the air running through the bath bomb as well, that actually helps them to spin. I get lots and lots of people saying they can't get them to spin. Why not? That's usually why, because the bath bomb's too heavy. So here I do have my little container here. So I'm going to just move this little thing out the way a bit. So now all we're going to do is pour this straight into here. Don't worry if there's little white bits that aren't mixed or anything. So hopefully, let me just spin my little thing so that I can actually show you a bit more. So there you go. So we've got this in here. We'll get the spatula and we'll just make sure everything is out of the container. So now what you want to do is literally do this and mix this all together. You can actually, when you're doing it in the mixer, you can also put your citric acid in. But for this purpose, because lots of people don't have a mixer, I did it this way. And so now we have our citric acid. We're just going to pour that in. And remember, your citric acid needs to be 40 to 50% of the bicarb. So if you use 500 grams of bicarb, then you need 220 to 250 grams of citric acid. And if you put too much citric acid, your bath bomb will just fizz and do that, but it will only do it for a matter of 10 seconds. If you don't put enough, it won't spin. So it's just one of those tricky things that you really do need to, pay attention and do. And, when you're doing this by hand, you need to kind of rub it a little bit. So let's just put this camera up a tiny bit. So can you see how gorgeous the colour is? And when I hold it, can you see how it's pretty much holding in my hand? See how that separated that tiny bit? Don't worry about that too much because, it's pretty good, but I am going to give it maybe 2 more sprays of witch hazel. And a lot of times it is just you literally deciding, does it feel right or not? But don't go adding too much extra in it because it will be disaster. So now we've got all that done. And remember, you've got only a small window as well to make bath bombs. So let me move this aside. Just going to move that out the way. So now we do have our tray here. Actually, I'm going to put the tray to the side and let's just do this bit here. So now, as I said before, we've got our moulds here. So we've got this, and what I do is I usually put this on the scale, I tear the scale out, and then you're going to put your mixture and then weigh it again to make sure it's the right measurement. But for today, we won't need to do that because I'm just going to roughly do it so that you can all see. But you can see here is my mould, and literally, because this is all one colour, we're just going to pop it in. If you wanted to put, an embed, just put that much and put the embed in there and then put more on top. But for today, we're just going to do this, and you just lightly do it. We don't want anything to be too crazy on top, remember. So that's basically how it's going to look. And then we're going to get this piece here, and if you can see, it's got like a little rim around the edge, and that just gives it a little tiny pattern. And now the thing to remember as well, when you press these, it's important to remember that this is going to sit on top and this is going to be on the bottom. And I'll show you what I mean with that in a minute. So if you don't have a press, you can just use your hands and press it. I'm not going to lie, it's not going to work as well as the other way round. So, if you do it the other way around and use your press, it definitely will come out better. So remember, this is the top. So we're going to take the thin piece off. And can you see how that's got that little bit of a tiny little crack there? That means we need to add some more witch hazel. So that's the good thing with something like this. This will actually show you, okay, it doesn't have enough. We need to make this more wet. So you've got to just quickly do it because remember, witch hazel has a water product in it as well. And it is quite warm in here at the moment as well. So if your environment's warm, it will definitely, make everything a little bit more crazy in here. So as I said, we're going back again. But don't be too, don't worry. Don't stress too much, with your mixture. But honestly, you will get less issues if you have an actual press. And you can probably make a press yourself at home. I mean, it doesn't need to be fancy. So, you just need something to be able to clamp down the wood, or a clamp, or anything really. So here is my press. As you can tell, I've already been making bath bombs on it. So this is what I do even with the Cada ones. We will press them in here, turn them round. And basically what we want to do is compact it. So that's pretty much it, just a few presses. I'll move this out the way. And as we said, the bottom here is the bit that we want to be good. And can you see how there is now no cracks in that? And it's really, really good. Now, there's two ways of doing this. Some people, what they do is get a board and they flip it upside down because they get a bit stressed. Because sometimes you can tip this and the whole thing comes out. Another way to do it is literally, you're not going to undo any of this yet. We're literally going to put it straight on here. We'll just clean this up because I've got a bit of dust on. And with Cada moulds, we want no dust because it needs to be super smooth. And literally, we're just going to turn it onto the board. And can you, I'll move it. Sorry, I'm just going to move it so you can see. So hopefully I didn't crack it by moving it. So now with this, I don't tap them. You can tap it, but the more you tap on the top, the more issues you're going to have. So all I literally do is get the side of these here and pull them up. So remember, it's a Cada mould, so it's got like this little mini piece on the side. So can you see how I'm pulling that up? Take that off, and then this is the result. So fingers crossed, we're all good. And there you go. So if you can see how perfect that has come out now. So then there you go. That is your perfect lavender cloud. So, that's the thing too. And honestly, sorry, I'm coughing here, but honestly, I've got to tell everyone something. I have so many people ringing me, messaging me, everything about bath bombs because they don't work. They're stressed because they've spent all the money on the mixture and it's not working. There's a couple tricks to making bath bombs. Number one, you need the right mixture, the right process. Your process, if I give you a recipe, your process may not be exact as mine. And that's why it may not work. Because my bath bomb recipe, I have lots of soaping businesses that use it, because I give it away. And so lots of people use my recipe. So, if you're struggling with a recipe, I definitely suggest you go over to my Patreon and get that recipe over there. There is lots of other videos that has the recipe too. Oh, hi Jess, how are you, my love? Welcome. So, so this is the thing as well. So I'm going to show you again, like I said, we've done this one here. Keep mixing, as you've seen, I've done in between. So now we do have our mould here. We've done this. We're going to press it in the presser. And you would have seen as well that the pressing is definitely better. Yeah, hi Jess. I knew it was you, my love. Hello, welcome. And then we're going to just give it one more little press as well. We'll take that out the way. And as I said, remember, we're going to turn it round because we want the small piece to come off first. And once again, you can see there is no cracks in it at all, which is really important. If there's a crack, dump it back and start again. Because even me, these are the hardest. Clouds are so hard. Oh, your goal is to do these, is it? Yeah, I know. So hard, aren't they? And honestly, this has taken me over a year to perfect this recipe and to perfect the bath bomb. So don't think you're going to just make a bath bomb and start selling. It's not that easy, honestly. So I'll move back so you can see. So all I'm doing is removing the shaft now. So I'm pressing down with my hand just a tiny bit and then releasing this. And this is a Cada bath bomb. This is the Cada flat bath bomb mold. I love Cada stuff, but Cada, definitely you need a special recipe. Oh, you love Cada molds? Yeah, I love them, but I'm going to say it's taken me a long time to get the recipe right. And I watched Cada do a video about that, and they were 100% right. They said, look, you know, you need your process and the recipe to be right. So there you go. You can see they're both smooth. There is no cracks at all. And, you know, and then you can just keep going. But as I said, if you're nervous to flip it, you can like get a chopping board or just bits of MDF and then flip it on that, hold it together and then flip it back. But that's a lot more work than doing it this way. So usually you'll be right to literally pop it in here and keep going. And as I said, you can do the rainbow little embeds in the bottom. If you go back, there's a number of recipes I've given you for embeds. I think my newest one may be on Patreon. So if you want the newest one, it's on Patreon. I will still be giving some recipes for free, but you know, I think maybe only 1 out of every 5 will be free now, because I was at a stage of running at a loss doing videos. So I thought at least Patreon helps me pay for the material. So, and you can have a pledge as small as $5 a month, which is only just a little bit, about $1 or so a week. So it's not very much. And I think in US money, it works out to be $4.50. $4.50 a month. So, sorry, I have to think about that then. I think that's what it works out to be, because it's in Australian dollars. But anyway, so we've done that bit now. So today, I guess I'm really showing you the process, aren't I? And do remember, this is it here. Yeah, that's right. You do need a Wetter-Mix, and that's why this recipe is a bit different as well. Oh, you made the embeds and it worked out perfect. I'm so glad. So once again, taking the top off, and I'll show you so you can see how smooth it is. There's no cracks or anything. But as I said, you need a Wetter-Mix. There is no good doing it, and you need to let these dry for at least 12 to 15 hours. I just leave mine overnight, come back the next day and they're dry. And I've had lots of people asking me, you know, saying, well, you know, they're dry, but the next day they're powdery. That means it hasn't worked. That means there's something wrong, because remember, a bath bomb is a reaction. So it's really important to remember, bath bombs are a reaction, and if the reaction is wrong, the chemical balance isn't right. So that's what's really important to know. Oh, hello, lovely. How are you? Welcome. It's a bit of a tricky, sneaky video, isn't it? So you can see there's 3 of them, and they're all perfect. But try not to move the trays. Try not to, you know, like touch too many things in the middle of doing this, because the more times you move things, the more times things go wrong, and then you're going to be really upset and things don't work. Also, remember, the mix that you're doing, you really only have, you know, like 20 minutes to get it perfect. Sorry, I didn't see that message. I seen that you said you got the kitty from them. Oh, I'm going to tell everybody too, the hardest one to make, absolute hardest one I found, is the tugboat from Cada, because I've got quite a lot of Cada molds. The koala is great. That's really easy to do. There's quite a few that are really easy. I'll show you. Like, this is the tugboat that I've made, and that's really hard. It often falls to pieces. This is another cloud that I've done, so you can see that you can do multi-colors, and then that's basically your thickness of the cloud. So, as I always say, honestly, I don't have many fails at all. It's not to say I don't have fails, because I definitely do. But, you know, and now I wanted to show you, can you see that crack? That crack is because I have not put this in my hand press. I definitely find with Cada that they need a lot of pressing. So if that happens, pop it straight back in, start again. And try really hard not to keep spraying witch hazel. Once you do it once, you do not want to keep spraying in between if you can help it. And I can tell that this is fine. A lot of times people spray it because they think, oh, well, it's going to make it work better. Well, it doesn't. It really doesn't. So just lightly smooth your mixture over the top. Don't stress too much. Just try and do it really light. And pop this on. Remember this, the fat piece is going to be the top of this cloud mould. So now I'll do this one, and then I think this is the last one that we'll do on camera, because you don't want to sit here all day watching me. How boring. You'll say, God, she's boring, just doing the same mould all day. And I have another 80 of these to do for a client. So that's just what happens, isn't it? Can you see, once again, the crack is still there? That means that my mixture is drying out. And although I hate to say put more witch hazel, if it's drying out, and it's only because I'm talking and I haven't been fast, it means it needs to be a bit wetter. And you need to, like, just get your mixture, turn it over. So it means that I'm going to have to just spray a couple more and be a bit fast. And, you know, that's just the way it is with Cada, like I said. And it's the material of the moulds as well, because all materials are different. So anyway, I hope that I've helped you understand how to make them. And you can see it's kind of holding now, so it's fine. I'm going to get to doing these, and we have finished. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you give me a massive thumbs up, and I will see you on my next video. If you're on Patreon, remember we will be live tonight, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Australian Standard Eastern Times. Oh, I'm sorry, lovely. We're finished up, but you can watch it. I'll save this so you can all watch how to make them. Anyway, see you next time, everyone. Bye for now.